Welcome to Bipolar Boxing Picks. This is Nick. We're going to be breaking down the fight today between Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Chris Eubank Jr. is 33 years old with a record of 32, 2, and 23 KOs. And Liam Smith is 34 years old with a record of 32, 3, and 1 with 19 KOs. First of all, with this fight, I'm just going to put it out there. I love Chris Eubank Jr. in this fight. It's just the only way I'm going to put it is don't overthink this thing. It's very simple. Chris Eubank Jr. is bigger, stronger, and faster than Liam Smith. Liam Smith has never fought at 160 before. They both weighed in at 159 today. They both look great. I think Eubank Jr. looked really good at the weigh-ins, but not that means much. But God, I just worry he's gonna be almost 10 pounds heavier than Liam Smith when it comes to fight night. So when a guy moves up in weight, I try to look for his advantages, and usually it would be a speed advantage. The obvious thing would be I don't see Liam Smith having a speed advantage in this fight, so he doesn't have that. He doesn't have I would say like ring IQ. I would still go Eubank. But then just the sheer size and strength of Chris Eubank is going to be too much. And he's also been working with Roy Jones Jr. now for a couple of years. And, I mean, that Liam Williams fight, if that is anything to show of what's to come from Chris Eubank, I think it could be dangerous even against guys like a now Triple G. I think that would be a good fight. And, whatever Charlo it is that he's chasing after. But I could see him at least hanging in there with those guys. So I definitely would I would not see Liam Smith hanging in there with either one of those guys. I think he would get demolished. But so I think I see this as being a high tier, stay busy fight for Eubank because he's got those fights on the horizon. I mean, his next fight could possibly be against Charlo, Triple G, or Conor Benn. I don't think he's going to mess that up with losing to a guy like Liam Smith, who's an easy to root for guy. He's a blue collar guy. He's got a few quality wins on his resume, but lately some of those wins, like his fight against Jesse Vargas and that Fowler, the prospect there from the UK, I forget his first name. But both those fights kind of went the same, if I can remember. Liam Smith was he boxed okay in the beginning of those fights, but I think he gave away a lot of rounds early. But then Liam Smith took over both those fights. He definitely took over against Vargas, but I think that was more of he had the size advantage over Vargas. So Vargas, I thought, was outboxing him, I think, the first half of the fight. But in both of those fights, nowhere did I think Fowler or Vargas had a chance to win. Even if they were winning rounds, you could just see Liam Smith was bigger, stronger, and especially with Fowler, he was just more experienced. So that kind of took over for him there. And with Vargas, it was more of Liam Smith's weight advantage, I think. He was just a naturally bigger and stronger guy. But he's not going to have either one of those advantages against Eubank. So I like to look at paths to victory when I'm picking fights. I don't see hardly any paths to victory for Liam Smith. The only thing I can see is if for some reason Eubank seems to be very patient with picking his shots with Roy Jones. It's been working for him like it did against Liam Williams. I know out of the 4 of those knockdowns, I believe 2 of them were the jab, and I believe he was on his back foot both of those times he threw those jabs. I might be wrong, but I just see him as more of a kind of hanging back, and then pop you, and then get out of the way. And I think Liam Smith's a perfect style to do that against. But the only thing is, maybe if he gets too complacent back there and he thinks he's going to land the home run punch, and it doesn't come, Liam Smith could stack up rounds early and just be too big of a deficit. But that's really the only path I see him winning. I don't see him. The least likely thing to happen in this fight, I believe, is Liam Smith KO. I don't see that happening at all. I can see, and if I have to give my prediction on round or decision or whatever, I would say Eubank gets him out of there in probably the 10th round, somewhere late, because I think this fight will be competitive through the first 6 rounds. I think Smith could even be up 4-2 at that point. But after that, Eubank is going to take over, and if he doesn't earlier, uh, like I said, Smith, I see him getting out to maybe like a 2-1 lead after 3 rounds, but after that, Eubank just taking over the fight with his, like I said, his sheer size. He's got better size. He's got better speed. He's got better boxing ability. There's a lot of things he can do to work on in this fight and showcase in this fight too. What he's been learning with Roy Jones Jr., which we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Eubank Jr., like I said, don't overthink this one. Bigger, stronger, faster. It's that simple. He's also got bigger fights on the horizon. And Liam Smith's also not a guy, you're not going to look past him. I mean, this is still a very tough fight. He's only a 3-1 favorite, so you don't look over a guy like Liam Smith. But you do dominate this guy, I think, especially because of the fact that Liam Smith's never fought at this weight class. That has a lot to do with what I'm saying. I'm not trying to crap on Liam Smith for not being on Eubank's level, but he's not if they're fighting at the same weight because Eubank's that much bigger than him. So that's how I feel, just like with Liam Smith and Jesse Vargas. I don't believe Liam Smith is that much of a better fighter than Jesse Vargas, but he was on that night mainly because he's just a naturally bigger guy than him. It had a lot to do with it, and it's going to have a lot to do in this fight. I'm not saying Liam Smith's that much worse than Chris Eubank Jr., but it's going to show that size just because, like I said, even if Liam Smith gets up early, if he gets up 4 rounds to 2 or whatever, Eubank can kind of do whatever he wants at any time in this fight. If he wants to, he could turn around and try to walk Liam Smith down at times if he wants to. Like I said, just more paths to victory for Liam or for Chris Eubank Jr. Most likely, I think he gets him out of there. I think he gets him out of there later. 10th round KO. That's my prediction. If not, go to the scorecards. I think he wins. We'll say 9-3 on the scorecards because it is a 12-round fight. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that fight. The only other fight on that card that's kind of worth watching is the Joseph Parker versus Jack Macy fight. I don't see anywhere that Jack, once again, paths to victory. I don't know how the hell Jack Macy's going to beat Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker should win that fight easy. He should win it within, I would hope, 6 to 8 rounds. Definitely shouldn't take any more than that. If it does, I worry about the rest of Joe Parker's career. But if he looks really good tomorrow, it'll be interesting to see him against another top 10 heavyweight, top 15 guy. Because at this point in his career, like, if you're fighting a guy like Jack Macy, it's just a stay busy fight, I understand. But after that, you need to step up. So you got to use this fight to showcase your skills, and I believe he does. And I think he gets Jack Macy out of there. I'll say 7th round KO for that fight. You guys have a good night.